Thank you, Kalpan, for that.
Please start. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Congrats yourself for taking ownership and attending Bangalore Toastmasters Club meeting on Friday, rainy evening. This is Kolapan, Sergeant at Arms of India's second oldest club. Every Toastmasters meeting has 3 ground rules. Just don't panic. Rules are simple. Switch off or turn off for mobile on silent mode. Don't walk in the middle. And refrain from talking about sex, religion and politics for the benefit of you and the club. I came to Bangalore in 2016. Started my career as a civil engineer. Civil engineer, my priority to handle Hindi labels with knowing 2 sentences. आपका नाम क्या है? मेरा नाम कोलापन है. I learned Hindi. I openly admit that learned Hindi from my labels because of my ability and flexibility to learn. Today's themes explains the same things. Everyone should have flexibility to learn from everyone. Today I am introducing a person who adapt and taken 3 roles in the club within 18 months. Presently, the president. And please get me welcoming the present president of the club, Toastmaster Shashank Bhatt.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Kolapan, for the wonderful introduction. Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the legendary Bangalore Toastmasters Club. Before I proceed, the minutes of the previous meeting, 1383, was shared on WhatsApp and by mail by the then Secretary Toastmaster Vishwanath. Any amendments to the same? So I pass minutes of meeting 1383 and I call to order meeting number 1384. Do we have any first time guests here with us? Can I see a show of hands? Welcome. Can I have 1 or 2 introductions from your end? Can you please raise and introduce yourself to us? Who are you and how did you get to know about this club?
Okay, good evening everyone. My name is Noah Abraham Matthew and I got to know about the club from my friend Brian. So, I'm a student from St. Joseph College of Commerce.
Welcome.
Good evening everyone. I'm Shreya Sadhugol and I'm a friend. I got to know about Toastmasters from Brian and I go to SCU. Thank you.
Good evening everyone, I am Gautam and I came to know about Toastmasters through Meetup app.
Right. So for the guests to introduce as well as others, members of the club, can we have a huge round of applause and welcome our guests to the club. The theme for today, our Sergeant Arms threw some light on it. The bamboo that bends is stronger than oak that resists. What better example than today? The first meeting of the new executive committee. We wanted to start with a bang, and then there was this news at 6 p.m. We reached at 5:30. We expected the meeting at Loyola Hall to get over, but at 6 we got to know that the meeting will go until 6:45. We had 2 options: either wait and start at 6:45, or don't have the meeting. So it came as a nice jolt to us. It was a nice setback to us. It was a bad setback to us for an auspicious beginning. But as the theme says, we should be flexible. Could we have told, no, we want the room at 6:30? They would have cancelled the association with us then. We could not have any more further meetings if we showed attitude in front of them. But at some circumstances, we have to adjust, we have to compromise and make sure we please others as well. Instead of us, we should also think about others as well. Yes? Toastmaster Melvin, what's your favorite color?
White.
White. Rahul, Toastmaster?
Black.
Black. Now if I say black, Melvin may feel bad. If I say white, Rahul may feel bad. Did anyone ask which color I like? That's the point of this committee. It's more than us, it's about the members. What exactly is required of the members as well? We could be autocratic and say we want this to be done this term, but we are representatives of you. At the end of the day, we will do what is right for the club and all its members. That's the reason we had selected the theme for the entire term, which is Together We Evolve. It's not a one-man show. It's not about one person. It's about everyone. It's about being inclusive. As I also mentioned the tagline during the installation ceremony, we learn, we grow, we then teach, and we all rise together. On that note, it's time for me to hand over the stage to the next person who will take the meeting forward, the Toastmaster of the day, so called as the MC of the meeting. He has taken up executive committee roles except for the post of secretary. He was a sergeant-at-arms, he was a treasurer, he was a VP public relations, he was a VP membership, he was a VP education, and the president of the club as well. He was associated with Kingfisher Airlines till it came down. Then he took that as an inspiration, he took the experience there and he started his own travel company, and he's been associated with his own travel company for more than 20 years, M-Star Travels. Please put your hands together to welcome the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Melvin Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and guests, how many of you like the rain? Oh, all of you like rain. Thank God it's raining. Most of you like rain. I love the rain because I get to put on my jacket. Well, today, I must tell you, at the installation, I was wondering what the president meant by taking the meeting to a new level. I realized today, he wanted it from the ground floor to the second floor. And then he made one mistake in my introduction, which I caught. He said I did all roles except that of the secretary. I didn't do the secretary because all the time I was the secretary, even as the president. Well, today we are very fortunate to be at the very first meeting of this brand new swanky committee. And I can tell you, they have got together the VP Education, Priyanka and Shashank Bhatt, the president, and said, let's put this Toastmaster of the Day to test. Let us see if he fits in the theme. Like, the bamboo that bends is stronger than the hope that resists. We'll give this guy let's see how his experience will show today and put all the meeting together within these 2 hours that we have. So I am requesting you to help me to make sure this meeting ends on time. Why I didn't say about beginning on time? Because we've already started on time. So I want to just put one big tick mark here. Start on time. And for that, I need a little bit of energy from you. You see, I'm going to try this for the first time. If I lift this hand, you must clap. Do this. Let me see. The people who don't like rain are doing the clapping. When I do this, you must cheer. You must say, yay! Come on, do this. Yay! I do this, you must clap and cheer. Do this. I'm feeling energized. I feel that positive vibe from you. And I tell you, people at the Toastmasters come here for better speaking, better listening, and better thinking. Anyone knows what's the tagline of Toastmasters? Put up your hand and tell me. Yes. Where leaders are made. Here we come to become better communicators and better speakers and better leaders, because with these two in hand we become better leaders in any sphere of life that we are. So today we are going to have, I know you young generation know everything, are very tech friendly, so I don't need to tell you too much about Toastmasters, but I must add my bit that Toastmasters is a worldwide organization, a non-profit organization started in 1924. You know what techies, you should know that. And Santa Ana, California, and the founder was Dr. Ralph C. Smedley. Today we have three parts in the meeting. The first part will be prepared speeches, the second part will be table topics. I'm going to be a dumbre and not tell you too much. The table topic master will tell you more about it. And the third part is a very unique session. Only in Toastmasters you get it. It's the evaluation. For that we have a general evaluator and somebody who is seasoned. This person is a trainer. He worked in the Gulf. He is a distinguished Toastmaster, which means he is a DTM. Put your hands together for DTM Gangadhar Krishna. Being a trainer, he believes in teamwork, and you know we have a team together for him, which is called the tag team. T for timer. The timer today will make note of all the timing and ensure that people know when they have to stop by using his cards, the green, yellow, and red card. And introducing your TTM, meaning Timer Toastmaster, Jeevan K. I was put this up so that we clap and ask you to sit down. Our counter today is a person who will make note of all the clutch words you use, unnecessary long, short pauses that does not enhance your speech. And today's our counter ATM is Toastmaster Rahul. No, not Rahul, sorry.
I am Rahul.
Rahul. Put your hands together for this. And then the grammarian is somebody who will check and see if you're the good and bad usage of the English language, and also responsible for the word of the day, which I already used, adumbre. Easy to remember it. A dumb rat. You add the E and it becomes rate. A dumb rate, meaning
To represent in outline.
see, BTM.
Adumbrate means to represent in outline.
P for, I forgot what was P. Anyway, we'll continue. Now we'll get into the first part of the meeting, which is? You're not listening. We are better speaking, better thinking, and better listening. First part is the prepared speeches. And for the very first speech, the evaluator will read the guidelines for the speech. Let's invite Aaron Kamath to read the guidelines for the first speech.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. The purpose of the speech is for the speaker to learn or review basic methods of writing a speech with a well-defined purpose and to deliver the speech in an organized manner on any topic. Timer note that the prescribed time is 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. This first speaker, I don't know much about him. But one thing I know, his speech title is Roots and Horizons. Roots and Horizons, put your hands together for the very first speaker, Rahul Bhardwaj.
All of us can admit that we've been influenced by Western culture to some extent, can't we?
Yes.
From constantly trying to keep up with the latest trends in fashion to wanting to own the latest iPhone, the influence of the West on us Indians is undeniable. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'll admit that I can't possibly imagine a world without ice creams and pizza. So what I'm trying to say is that the influence of the West, the Western culture on us as Indians, there's a significant effect on us. And today I want to talk about those effects of the Western culture on us, which the Indian society doesn't seem to be very fond of. There's something that I keep hearing very often from my family is, Rahul, no matter where you are, no matter what heights you reach in life, always remember where you're from and who your people are. Always remember where you're from and who your people are. Now, many of the things that many of the things that we use on a day-to-day basis have come from the West, including cars, washing machines, mobile phones. The list can go on. And so for most of us, let's be honest, for most of us, it's going to be hard to live without these basic items. And for some people in our society, these basic items provide their livelihood. They put food on their table and provides a roof over their head. So it's something that we can't deny, the effect of the Western culture and the West in general on our nation. I want to talk about some of the things from the Western culture that influenced us, like I said, especially the youth, which the Indian society, especially our parents, don't seem to be very fond of. So our parents feel that as we embrace Western ideologies and their culture, they feel that we lose touch with our own roots and our cultural heritage. And are they wrong in saying this? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I'd say that that depends entirely on that particular situation and with that particular person. This is a game of two halves. Sometimes, I say sometimes that the children are wrong and sometimes the parents may be wrong. Sometimes, in countries like the United States, it's a known practice for children to move out of their homes once they turn 18. In India, it's a known practice for most of us to stay with our parents in our homes until we start earning or get married. But however, these days, an increasing number of people in our nation, an increasing number of young people in our nation, feel the need to move out at a pretty young age. And this is not always because they've been influenced by something, but they've been influenced by something. Sometimes it may be because they just want to experience living outside, or sometimes it may be because the conditions at home are not pleasant and they want to move out. But in the eyes of most typical Indian parents, this is because we've been influenced by Western ideologies and we've been brainwashed, as my mom calls me. So this is what they believe, and this is what they believe. So let me give you an example of this. I have some friends whose parents are so overprotective and are controlling of them that they they have some really strict rules and curfews in place. Some of them include some of my friends' parents. They're strictly against my friends leaving their hometown for college. Doesn't matter how reputed the college is, or doesn't matter how far it is. If it's out of their hometown, they're just not allowed to go. And there are others who have their children's curfew set at 7 p.m. Like, come on, 7 p.m. really? You might as well hire a babysitter. So when these friends that I'm talking about are all 18 or 19-year-old guys, when they ask their parents why they're so controlling, their reply was that they're worried that if left unsupervised for a long time, they might fall into a bad crowd and develop bad habits. And one specific parent even said, this is not America where you can just leave the house once you turn 18. Now, I understand, it's understandable that their intentions are meant for the welfare of their children, but their actions end up doing the opposite. by not allowing the children to leave their hometown for college, or by not allowing them to stay out after 7 p.m., do you think you're preventing them from developing bad habits or getting into bad company? Because practically speaking, they can do that at 5 or 6 p.m. in the same city. So you're not really helping by putting in place rules and curfews. It's crucial for both parents and children to understand each other in this evolving landscape. So, while it's true that the influence of the West has brought about significant changes in our society, embracing some changes doesn't automatically mean disconnecting from our traditions and our cultural values. Parents often worry about their children's well-being, and often they want the best for their children. And in the midst of all this, they worry that foreign influences can divert them. It's crucial. So because of this, it's crucial to have open and honest conversations to bridge that generational gap and find common ground. Parents can encourage their children to stay connected with their roots while also allowing them the freedom to explore and learn from other cultures and traditions. Rather than viewing it as an either-or situation, we should strive for a balanced approach. Our cultural roots are essential. We require them. They provide us with a sense of identity, values, and wisdom passed down through generations. However, embracing new ideas, technologies, and lifestyles from different cultures doesn't automatically mean abandoning our roots and our cultures. At the end of the day, it's important to both appreciate other cultures and take pride in our own. While learning from other cultures is beneficial and broadens our perspective, we should also value the unique aspects of our own cultural heritage. Thank you.
Next time I'll have to lift my hands higher. I think y'all are shouting for me instead of the speaker. Well, Rahul, I must say that I feel a bit guilty because now I realize what you meant by roots and horizons. Going to our second speaker, and this speaker is now going to be evaluated by a marathoner, is Vijay Kalkundri to read the guidelines.
Good evening, everyone. Speaker number 2 is attempting level 2 project 1 speech from presentation mastery. The purpose of the speech is for the member to learn about different communication styles and identify his or her primary style. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share the impact of his or her style on others. The time for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Vijay. You can take your seats left, a few seats left. Priority seats remaining. Our second speaker is intuitive, loves technology, and is joyful. And I've seen her, I think she's one of the youngest Toastmasters of our club. Her speech title, You Can Count on Me. Sounds like a song. You can count on me, Toastmaster Kirtan.
In this tech world filled with emojis and hearts, we intend to show our reactions through it. Communication, my dear friends, is the magical art of connecting with each other, showing support, and giving emotions to each other. Good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Toastmasters International tells us about 4 different types of communication styles. They are the initiative, initiative, supportive, direct, and analytical. The initiative style is when the person is always proactive and always there to take up any role. The supportive type is when you have a caring or warm person there to always give, you have their back always. Those are the supportive types. The direct type is when, you don't beat around the bush. If you ask them, hey, am I a fool? They will say, yeah, you are. Moving on to the analytical type. According to the word analytical, these people are logical and concise. Coming to my communication style. Kirtana, please go to the provision store and get some provisions, told my dad. Kirtana, pay the electricity bills for me, please, told my mom. Kirtana, please take me for a walk, no putta, told my grandma. All these aspects of me being a single child gave me the opportunity to take up initiatives since I was a child. Another aspect also came through this, that is being supportive. When I also realized that my near and dear ones, my family, always took support of me. During my sixth semester, there was this program that was held to welcome the newcomers, the juniors. They called out to me and told, hey, we want volunteers. I immediately initiated and said, I want to take up that role. I went there, started talking and connecting with everybody. And I realized that few of them sitting and writing scripts. I went up and asked, what are you guys doing? They said, we are writing scripts to audition for the MC role. We have not yet done that. There's no fixed MC. So I immediately went up to the coordinators and I said, hey, listen, I want to take up the MC role. Is there an opportunity? They told me, yes, only if you give the audition. Without further ado, I went up, grabbed a pen and paper, wrote down fun-filled scripts for few of the events that were already listed. I went there and I gave my speech to the people who were the judges. Immediately, they selected me. And of course, I held out the event fruitfully as an MC. In the meanwhile, one of my friends was also trying to be an MC. Her name was Pooja and she has a very sweet voice. She told me, she came up to me and said, she saw my script and she said, can you please help me? I said, why not? I helped her. She also gave her audition and she also became the MC that day. Because I took up that initiative and went and spoke as an MC, I realized that a lot of people came up to me and told that I have a clear voice, I have the ability to connect to people and also engage them in humor. My friend also thanked me for helping her. This was during the starting of my engineering days. About a month had passed by. It was another lazy morning. It was 8:30 in the morning, that is when our college used to start, school time. I was sitting in my favorite spot and I was waiting. We were all waiting for the teacher to come and start the lecture. There was chit-chat happening. This one head came up and started looking inside our classroom, very, trying to find somebody. I saw that head and I thought, hey, I know her, the girl with the weird name. But however, as she started walking towards me, I thought, how is this possible? Already a month has passed by and we are already started every single class. And she's walking here, I don't remember seeing her anywhere in our class or the other class. So she came up to me and said, she realized that we both knew each other. Yes, we were acquainted in PU. When she came up to me and said, hey, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, why are you here? She just looked at me and said, good, I'm weird, she's weird too. We'll hang out. So she came next to me and comfortably took up the spot next to me that was empty. We were a bit happy that we both knew each other prior. In that unfamiliar faces filled class, We started talking to each other, getting to know each other. 2 weeks passed by, and she came to me and said, she was sitting very dull and with, a very sad face. I went up to her and said, "Girl, what happened to you? Why are you like this? This is not you." She told me, "I'm facing so much pressure from my parents." She started crying. I said, "Pressure? First semester?" Then she said, "If your parents are professors in college and one of them is HOD, you will face that." I told her, "Girl, chill. It's okay. We are still in the first sem. We can do this. We can crack it." And also, after a few minutes of consoling her and talking to her calmly, she smiled after a few minutes. She told me, I asked her, "Hey, how come you're confiding in me so much?" She told me, "When I'm with you, I feel calm. I feel happy. I feel supported and reliable." I said, "Thank you so much." She also told me, "Yeah, come on. You just said, why are you here? When you wait, you get married, have kids, no? I'll go tell those kids, see your mother, what is she saying? Why are you here instead of saying hi? What is this?" However, because of the support I gave, I earned myself a very dear friend, and now she's almost like a sister to me. Coming to the icing on the cake part of my life, I walked into this Precious Club on November 2019, one of the Fridays. It was chilly evening. I came here when it was the meeting had almost started. I attended the whole meeting and I felt, yes, this is the place I should be. Here I learned both my skills for being supportive and communicative. For this, I can define myself as, through the song by Bruno Mars, "You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, oh yeah, 'cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah." Back.
Well, I must say that's a fantastic song. You can count on me. And I was really wondering what you're going to say about "You Can Count on Me." The third speaker is going to be evaluated by yet another VJ. He is the man who's called top of the world, Vijay Anand, to read the guidelines of the third speech.
The project is Prepare to Speak Professionally. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice developing and presenting a longer speech. Timer, please note 18 to 22 minutes. 18. So perhaps 18 is the green, or I suppose 20 is amber, and red is 22. Back 18 to 22. Back to the keyboard.
Thank you, Vijay. This speaker is a foodie. I know her the very day she joined the club. In fact, I was the president of the club at that time. And I can tell you, she has made huge strides, not just in Toastmasters, but even in her professional life. And today, her topic is all about sales. All about sales, Varsha BL.
Can we turn off the lights? Great, all right. So good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Please do not go by Vijay Anand. I think he freaked you out. But let me, as soon as you guys heard the speech duration, I think all of you all were in shock. But it's okay. I don't think you'll regret this time that you spend on. Well, and Keerthana, she was singing just before me. I think she set the stage already on fire. Keerthana, where are you? I would have definitely counted on you because, I also came from Katriguppe. I was a little late because my bike had some minor issues. not major. The speed limit is a little low because the brakes are not functioning properly, and the brakes part is still manageable, and engine has some problem. So I managed to sell this. The deal is over, just because the bike had minor issues, not major issues. So whether the issue is minor or major, it is in the way you pitch it. Agree?
Yeah.
From a matrimony proposal to your job interview, from marriages to jobs, sales is an inevitable skill that every individual should be inheriting, correct?
Yes.
So today we are going to see a presentation as to how to make a sales pitch very effective. So are we all geared up to see what is in it?
Yes.
Great. So can we go to the first slide, Priyanka? Great. So the very first element in a sales pitch is probing. So what do you infer by the word probing? Anybody? Have you heard this word called probing? Yes?
Explicitly mentioned and hidden needs.
Very good.
Ask questions.
Very good.
Going deeper into it.
Going deeper into it. Yes. So the word itself indicates that it is all about being inquisitive. It is all about inquiring more so that we know our target audience very well. So if you're having some doubts or whatever, we can just, just before I got into the meeting, Priyanka had rung up at around 4:35, inquiring not about my presentation, not about my attendance, but about the dress that I'm going to wear today. So she had to sync it with mine, and finally we are wearing this, yeah? So that is being inquisitive, but that did not help in today's meeting, right? So what is being inquisitive which helps in sales is knowing whether the target audience is right or not. There is a very interesting feature in sales called FabMan, right? So FabMan acronym goes like this, F stands for features, F stands for features, A stands for attributes, B stands for benefits, M stands for money, A stands for authority, and N stands for needs. Now, in our day-to-day lives, we come across a lot of situations where people go wrong in selling just because they don't know their target audience. At my home, my mom cooks, but my dad has enough money in his pocket all the time. There came a vegetable vendor, just this morning. My dad, he hardly knows cooking, he doesn't know ABC of cooking, and this vegetable vendor came and he's like, the tomatoes, the price of tomatoes have skyrocketed. This is the time for you to invest. That's the statement that he made. Tomorrow morning you'll have a big shock of your life. This is the time to invest. Why don't you buy? But mom had told him that she's going to cook something else. He has the money with him, but does he have the authority to purchase it? Can I have a bigger answer?
No.
And in some other cases, there are people with authority, but there is no money. Now, is there a point in pitching to that crowd again?
No.
So it is important for us to know our audience before we even start our pitch. Now, knowing Toastmasters are professionals, and I know that you are into various professions, diversified professions, and sales is inevitable in each and every profession that you guys are associated with. I chose this topic. Did I do the right choice with the topic?
Yes.
Great. So that is the very first part. So let's get a little deep into what probing is all about. Next slide, Priyanka. So probing involves a professional presentation, which will by default involve greeting. Now, it also involves questions to be asked, questions to be avoided, and of course, the way I present myself, the background that I come from, and most importantly, the organization that I'm representing. Next slide, please. Now, the dress code plays a key role, provided you are a professional salesperson. or even if it is an interview, you're selling yourself, you're selling an idea, you're selling a thought, the dress code has to be event appropriate. I had decided to wear, torn jeans and funky t-shirt. Had I done that, there are handsome guys out there in this very room. But would that serve the purpose? Would that be event appropriate? Absolutely not. This is not, matchmaking place. This is Toastmasters. I had to present my speech, and hence I had to dress appropriately. Likewise, if it is an idea that you're selling, if you're sitting for a job interview, you probably have to be dressed in formals. If it is a professional sales pitch that you're making, again, you might have to wear a certain products or the ID cards which will indicate that you are a representative of a particular organization. So presenting yourself formally is a key element. It is extremely essential. Now talking about the previous slide, talking about being well groomed, yes, that does give you confidence. It gives you a boost, and definitely people who are listening to your pitch will form a first impression looking at you. So Melvin still remembers me. Melvin was just telling that, yes, he remembered me as a foodie, but he also remembers me since the day he's seen me, because I always looked very presentable to you, right, Melvin? Yes, no, he's not forced to tell that. We didn't have a pact. He's doing it all by himself. It is important for us to be energetic, yeah? It is important for us to reach out to everybody present. It is important for us to especially keep in mind the target audience and act accordingly. If we lack the energy, definitely we will be leaving a very, very bad impact on the potential customer. So yeah, that is extremely important again. It is important, like I said, it is also important for us to showcase the company's identity. In many other places we see people wearing the uniform, which is the code of, that's again a very essential code of conduct these days. People wear ID cards, people carry ID cards with them. Many times they even wear pullovers, t-shirts, but it is important for us to represent the organization that we belong to in a very presentable way. Next slide, Priyanka. So in an effective probing, we should firstly set the context right. We should know our destination, right? So the minute you sell a dream, half of your work is done. So you're not just selling a product, you're not just selling a service, you're not just selling an idea, but you're showing the end result. And that is what motivates them to start thinking from the ground level. So when you set the tone right, when you set the dream right, they will start responding to you in a positive manner since then. It's also important for you to have a catchy background. So these days, earlier days, there is this very famous proverb which says, do not judge a book by its cover. But it is important to also have a good cover these days, because the first impression is what we go with. Inside content might be good. Irrespective of that, if the cover is not presentable, unless it's a brand, it is not very likely that people would pick you or pick it, right? Next slide. Yeah, Fabman approach. You should always, like I threw some light on Fabman, it is important for us to check whether the person has the authority to buy. Is he in need at the first place? So I think a couple of months back, when I was a table topic master at the very own club, there was a very funny event which happened, which is called hard sale. It was a hard sale pitch that a table topic contestant had to come up with. So this is very unlikely situation. The topics were like, you have to sell a Valentine card to Ram Sena Adhyaksh, you have to sell comb to a balded person. These are all extreme situations, right? But unless there is a need for the product, it's not likely that the person buys. So your first step in sales would be to understand whether the person actually needs it or not. And that is how you start picturizing your target audience, and then you will check whether they have the authority to buy, whether they have the affordability, and finally you will then start pitching. Next slide, please. So many a times we focus on the aspects that we should tell this thing, we should say A, we should say B, we should say C, but very rarely people also focus on what not to say. I'm fortunate to be a part of this esteemed organization because this is a platform which will emphasize or stress upon a fact that you should not be hurting another individual's sentiment, and that holds good even with your potential customers. You know that if you're hurting anybody, it's an exclamatory mark or it's a full stop, then the deal is closed, not just for that situation or that point in time, but once and forever. So it is important for you to avoid topics which are sensitive like religion, politics, sex, yeah. And it is also important that we do not demean clients. I was coming across because I was mentioning to all of you about matrimony example. My parents forcefully took me to this one of the Indian matrimony places, and there was a guy, I think, who was slightly old. I think he had he was in his early 40s. So the sales representative there was like, "Sir, I don't think you should go with 2 months package. I think you should be going for this package which says until you marry. We'll give you unlimited subscription, because I don't think the deal will get closed in 2 months." Immediately after this statement was made, he took a step back and he got offended and he walked off. He was like, "How do you decide that I cannot close a deal in 2 months? You think I cannot see a girl in 2 months? You think a girl will not choose me in 2 months? I will prove you right. You know what? In 2 months, I will enter this matrimony hall only with my wife." That is what his statement was. So it becomes very, very crucial and important for you to not demean your clients. Although you want to sell the package, you probably could have put it, the sales representative, had he or she used a very different approach, like, "Hey, I think, this, despite paying 8,000, you're getting only this. Just by paying 2,000 extra, you can meet more people, you can have more dates, you can probably explore more." If that would have been the pitch, he probably wouldn't have got offended, correct? So that's important for us to not demean the clients. Also, it is important for us to find relevance in everything, right? So I found relevance in the deal that I closed today. The person wanted the bike, and my bike had very, very minor problems. So finally, I found this customer. He was in need. He was not able to afford an electric bike or a bike which runs on petrol, because all of these bikes are, costing heavy sum these days, at least above 1 lakh, at least up till 2.5, 3 lakhs. But my bike was dealt for just 20,000. Great. So the next slide, Priyanka. So now, after you understand all this, after understanding whether he or she is the right audience for you, or that set of crowd is the right crowd for you, after understanding whether they have the money, they have the authority, are they really in need to buy the product, and finally also understanding if this is the right place for your product or service or an idea, you can start your presentation. Now, getting into the details of presentation, it is always better you demonstrate your product, unless it is something that you're doing it online, or it is something where the trial period is not available. It is always better to demonstrate your product. Now, again, before I started my speech, I think an hour before I started my speech, I spoke to my mentor, Dr. Rajdeep Panwani. I told him that, "Sir, it's very essential for us to have the product demonstration, and please do share your ideas on the same." Immediately, instantly, he was like, "Varsha, I have my own example. You are very right. I've been telling my wife that I love her, I love her, I love her. Until I demonstrate it, she's not going to buy. I said, how can you demonstrate love? He's like, simple, buy her gifts, take her to an expensive restaurant, let her die, let her get expensive gifts. That is when my love is demonstrated and she buys it. Otherwise, she doesn't buy it at all. Well, that sells, right? Married couple agree with this fact? No choice. Well, I think I'll take it as a concern, right? Show the success rate, right? And he again, I had a follow-up question to Dr. Rajdeep Manwani of the same, and I was like, sir, how do you justify this? You see, the day I demonstrate my love through expensive gifts, I take her outside and I show her that I love her, not just by telling. Varsha, to my surprise, you should see the way she talks to me. Sometimes I'll be like, am I her husband? Why can't I have this treatment all the 365 days? Right? Show the success stories, right? So if you want to see the success stories, show the success stories, demonstrate the product, and finally, ask them to visit your satisfied customers. It's all about marketing, right? So he can just explain it, but he can also tell it in multiple ways. He chose his creative way, but you might choose social media platforms, you might choose letters, you might have, your happy customers, you can directly link them with that of your target audience or potential customers. Do that and help them with samples. Yeah, in many cases, so it can be in form of trial period, it can be in form of the direct product that you can give it to them, but it is important for them to have a touch and feel, or at least, so these days, before you even sign up with OTT platforms, you will have a trial period, right? With platforms like Netflix, Prime, Audible. I've seen all these platforms give you a feel of it even before you make an informed decision. That happens when you're extremely confident about the product or service or the idea that you're selling. I was not confident about my bike. I didn't allow them to do a test ride. Yeah. So the next slide, Priyanka. All right. So we will also, there is another important aspect of this particular element, which is also called as a sales pitch. You finally, everybody does everything for an end goal. Like I said, there is a destination that we need to dream of, and then finally we will be arriving at it after we understand the audience, after we know how to pitch, after we demonstrate our product in a very creative, unique and detailed way, and finally, what is it that we are expecting? What is it that we are expecting from it? A sale, a closure, right? Now, this is a very, very deep topic, and it's a very detailed topic which cannot be covered in a small session. However, it is important for us to know the background of the product or service before we use a particular approach. Now, there is a Zumtive approach where we go to provision stores. The minute we tell the name of a product, they pack and they just quote. So if I go to a provision store, if I ask for basmati rice 1 kilo, India Gate basmati rice 1 kilo, it doesn't require for the shopkeeper need not explain the features and attributes. It's not essential for him to check whether I have the authority. Do I actually need it? I actually need it. That's the reason why I've gone there. I have the money. That's the reason why I've gone there. So with essential commodities, and in places where kids are taken to, when parents have filled the applications themselves for sending their particular kids to a particular institution, it's not necessary that the school asks or has unnecessary explanations. It is implied that it is a closure. They just have to quote. There is a puppy dog approach. That is a closure where people have the touch and feel of the product, right? So that's a puppy dog approach where people have the touch and feel of it, right? So once you start using the product, you start having the touch and feel of the product, you go have a pet for 1 week, you don't feel like giving up on that dog. You've already developed your emotions towards it, right? So that is what these OTT platforms do. Or if you're very confident about your products, I've seen one of the brands like Furlenco. They have excellent furnitures, you know. They give you free trial period for you to have a touch and feel of the product, use it as much as you want. You will not feel like giving up on it because you got so adjusted to it. You also got emotionally connected to it. Also, there are approaches when you are hesitant to ask straight away whether you like my product or not. Subtly, there is a scale approach which comes into picture. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you like our product? If the rating is below 4, does that mean that they like our product or services? If the rating is around 8 or 9, it indicates that we should at least take the advance amount and only then step out of their house or send them out of the store, right? So it depends, and there is a summary approach, especially in business to business model, when the explanation of the product has to be going through multiple verticals. When the key decision maker is not available. I was working with Exceed for a couple of years. So we had to meet the HOD first, and then via HOD we used to meet principal, and via principal we used to meet the school owner. So with every individual that we met, we had to summarize the product again and again, and that's called as summary approach. So this is subjective. So it depends on whether the person needs it immediately, whether the person has understood it immediately or not. But otherwise, I think we've covered enough about sales. If at all we have questions, I can take it. Otherwise, I'm done. That's about it.
So we've come to the end of the very first session. Just imagine we are on a journey. The first part was on a train. We had people hanging on the door, okay, in this journey. Second part is a non-stop flight. So do come back. We are going to have a 5 minutes comfort break. We have a non-stop flight. You don't want to miss it, and you have plenty of seats remaining. So see you back in exactly 5 minutes. Come on. Next time when I do this now, you must stand up and you must say that. Okay? Ready? No more hanging on the doors. You'll have to come and take your seat because you have to fasten seat belts here. Please do come in. Close the door. So this next session is a challenging session. Let me tell you. Sudipto, I'm sure you'll be called in for this session. It's called Table Topics. And why I say challenging is because the table topic will be given to any one of you. And you'll be having time allotted by the Toastmaster to speak. The table topic master is a person who's a trainer who's now a hardcore salesperson. She should have taken notes from Varsha just now about sales. Her name says Gift of God. And her mantra is just like mine. Live and let live. Put your hands together for the table topic master, Sharma.
Are you all ready to rock the stage today?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. So get going. I'm going to straight away jump onto the topics without any ado. So the first topic for today is, before that, let me just give you a brief on table topic. So this is for the benefit of the guests who have come for the first time. So table topics are nothing but, it's not like a prepared speech. It is an impromptu speech. Now what is an impromptu speech? It's on the spot. So I would be knowing what are the topics, but no one else would know over here. So I'll call upon a name, say for example, Toastmaster Sheep. So Toastmaster Sheep. This is just a rehearsal. Okay. So I would achieved. So please stand up. Then I would tell his topic. Okay? So then he had to speak, he has to give a speech on that topic for 2 minutes. So it is 1 to 2 minute speech. So immediately our timer would show the red card. After 2 minutes is over, he has to stop. Alright, so this is what it is going to be now. So now we will start the actual round. So the first topic for today is, am I audible?
Yes.
Be like bamboo, the higher you grow, the deeper you bow. Toastmaster Alan. Be like a bamboo, the higher you grow, the deeper you bow.
So whenever I listen to such complicated quotes, I remember my mother. Okay? Because though she likes to keep her quotes very simple, she doesn't believe in it actually. Okay? So there were times, you know, when I was growing up, right, and sometimes you're feeling very low and out, and you know, and so you'll be like, Mom, I can't do this, I don't want to study. I don't know whether it is to inspire me to study or to stop me from failing. She'll be like, Alan, remember, you are the best. So I feel great about it. And I'm like, wow, what a quote. I mean, I'm feeling on top of the world. Next thing you know, she'll be like, you are useless. And so for a long time, I used to get confused about what this is. And that's the classic thing that parents do, right? They confuse you with quotes. Even if you go on the internet, no, you will see where they say, be happy with what you have, right? And then next quote you'll say, stay hungry, stay foolish, right? Completely on two spectrums. No wonder that we go on YouTube, see motivating videos and get depressed, right? So this is the classic case of why I feel quotes don't make sense, and probably I wanted to leave you with another quote, but since it won't make a difference, it's back to the
So that was a very great perspective from Toastmaster Alan. So let's move on to the next topic. So the next topic is, life will push us hardly many times. When you are pushed, don't be surprised. Toastmaster Naga.
So good evening everyone. It is my first time. Not for you. You want? So good evening everyone. It is my first time on stage. I don't know what to do. I think this is my third class. Can you repeat the topic?
Life will push us hardly many times. When you are pushed, don't be surprised.
I completely disagree with this point. Life never pushes out. If we take it easily, it definitely we can succeed easily. If we take it, if the task is hard, it will remain in our mind. It will be in the harder stage. So what I want to convey is, whatever comes in the path, just take it easily and move on to it. Thank you.
Toastmaster Naga, well done. First time you came over here on stage. And the next topic, the smallest good deed is better than the grand grandest intention. The smallest good deed is better than the grandest intention. Toastmaster Robinson, sir.
The smallest could be better than the
Grandest.
grandest. Let me share with you my life. Soon after my graduation, of course during my graduation I had acquired certain skills. Skills like shorthand, typewriting and all, both in Kannada and English. On the last day of the examination, I was startled. In the night I couldn't get sleep. What can I do tomorrow? My college will be over, exams over. I have to get home. Then early in the morning, doesn't matter, leave it. Early in the morning, let us do it, let them enjoy. Early in the morning, I realized that I had those skills. After finishing the examination, I went to the employment exchange to register my name. It was 1969. They said there is a job there. Yes, second grade standard also. Smallest. I was appointed. I continued there. Within a week, the person, my boss told me, Mr. D'Souza, if you do law, you can become a magistrate. Yes, from smallest. When I retired, within 4 or 5 years, I was able to do law. I became a magistrate. And that small job led me to become a judge, the law secretary, the principal secretary, and in between I met a few students here. I am on the board of St. Joseph's University and also Governing Council member of St. Joseph's Institute of Management. Smallest, greatest. Your choice.
It is always inspiring to listen from our founder member, Toastmaster Robinson, sir. It was such a great thing for all of us. The next topic, be like bamboo. You would be wondering, why am I talking all about bamboo today? Because that's the theme. Be like bamboo. Toastmaster Aditya.
So, be like bamboo. Bamboo is extremely malleable, which is what we need and is an essential quality in daily life. Speaking of malleability, diplomacy comes to mind, because a lot of people, they're very stoic and they don't want to expose their true feelings, and they don't want to show what is truly inside, which is their intentions. In order to be diplomatic, you need to be malleable like bamboo. For example, I should use the Chinese building analogy. The Chinese building, which has a foundation with the same length as its floors which are above. So, and it has specific tensors which can make it sway along with the wind direction. So, if a hurricane or a really powerful storm hits it, then it sways according to the motion of the wind, hence doesn't break. Rigid structures, although very hard, have the tendency to break and shatter immediately. But if you are like bamboo and you have that stretch in you, and you have that diplomacy, you have that malleability within you, then definitely you would succeed further heights than, for example, if you were an oak tree and you were a rigid person in your ideology and your beliefs. Thank you.
Very well said, Toastmaster Aditya. So let's move on to the next topic. Why is bamboo tree compared to a humble person? Why is bamboo tree compared to a humble person? Toastmaster Sudipto.
Sharma. So let's see. I don't
have the gift of gab like Alan to listen to the topic and speak on something else.
Why is Bamboo compared to a humble person?
Okay, so that's very simple. The hallmark of a humble person would be to listen to all opinion, and whether you agree or disagree, at least acknowledge their opinion, and then you can choose to be disagree with the person without being disagreeable. And that's what I think is one of the facets of a bamboo, which would bend with the wind, but again still retain its shape. That's it.
Very well said, Toastmaster Sudipto. Let's move on to the next topic. Vision without action is a daydream. Vision without action is a daydream. Toastmaster Rajdeep Manmani. Vision
Without vision, without
vision without action is a daydream.
is a daydream. I remember this several years back. My physics teacher was teaching us the difference between mass and weight in class, and we were getting very confused of what it is. So he took an A4 size sheet of paper, two A4 size sheets of paper, and he had brought a balance over there, a very, very sensitive weighing machine, and he placed both of them on that. And both of them weighed 2.2 grams. And he said, wow, so is it the same? Then he crumpled one. And he said, do you think the mass is the same? We said, yes, sir, it is the same. You just crumpled it. When he placed it on the weighing scale, the A4 sheet weighed 2.2 grams, but the one which was crumpled weighed around 2.23 grams. And we said, how come, sir? And he said, you forgot. Might be the mass is the same, but when we crumpled it, there were little blots of air which got caught in that particular paper, and that's why it's weighing 2.23 grams. And I thought just by visualizing, showing that action rather than just telling us made such a big difference. Another very interesting example was when I had gone to Mangalore and had met my father, Walter Andrade there, who was my principal in college when I was studying in St. Joseph's. And he had asked me, what subjects are you teaching, Rajdeep? And I said, sir, I'm teaching financial management, income tax, and I'm teaching marketing management. And he looked at me and he said, Rajdeep, stop teaching financial management, marketing management, and income tax and start teaching students. And it was such a big shock to me because the vision was to complete the portion, but the action was, do the students understand or not? So always it is vision which has to be backed by action. You might be saying be happy and content with what you have. That is your past. But you have to stay hungry and stay foolish for your future, as Alan said, right? So motivation speeches by me are never depressing, right? That I will hand it back to.
Rajdeep Manmani has his own style of presenting. Always you love to hear his perspective too. Let's continue with the next topic. Action without vision is a nightmare. Action without vision is a nightmare. Toastmaster Vishal. Action without vision is a nightmare.
Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
Me and my friend went to Rajasthan on a small trip. We had no water. It was really tiring. We are tired, we're sweating, and everything's dried up. This man takes a shovel, starts digging and digging. It's 3 days, and he's still digging. Why? After 3 days, I asked him, why are you digging so much? He said, I want groundwater. I'm like, bro, there's a well right next to us. Open your eyes and see. Action does not matter if there is no vision. So open your eyes, look if there is a well. If there isn't, then you dig. And that's been my time. Over to you.
Thank you, Vishal, for your speech on that perspective of well and the groundwater. We'll always keep in mind. Okay, so the next topic. Fall down 7 times, get up 8 times. Fall down 7 times, get up 8 times. Toastmaster Ganesh Pai.
Fall down 7 times, get up 8 times. Such an apt topic for a chartered accountant. So, in my schools, college, I used to be a fairly good student. Always ended up as one of the top 3 students. And failure was something I had never known until I joined CMS. I remember first time when I had failed. And I just couldn't see. I thought something was wrong with the results. But that was it. Eventually, I cleared my inter, but then came to CA final. CA final is mother of all exams. At least that's how I look at it. And it will really grind your bones. And I remember first or second attempt when I had failed, I just couldn't control myself. I started crying. And I told my mom, I think I'm one useless fellow. But I persisted, cleared it. Now when I look back, I think it was all worth it. Because now even when there are momentary setbacks, it doesn't really shake me. But I had to go through what I had to go through. But I realize at times it's good you encounter the failure very early, so that when the stakes are high, you can at least you have that sort of mental bandwidth to deal with it and come out with the flying colors. So it's okay to fail, and that too, when stakes are really low, you must fail and taste it, because as you climb up in life, it will give you that perspective, that sort of a humility to appreciate that anything doesn't come easy. You have to really earn it. And I totally agree. Even if you fail 7, 10, 11th time, you should always bounce back, because 12th time you will succeed and nobody can stop.
So all of us would increase our bandwidth on failure. Let's not keep it narrow. Always have a wider, bandwidth. It helps. So the next topic for today, I think how many more? 5 more minutes. Okay. Yes. Be not afraid of going slowly. Be afraid of standing still. Be not afraid of going slowly. Be afraid of standing still. Toastmaster Puneet.
I like to stand still. There's a very interesting post on LinkedIn that trended of this professor from CMRID this week. You all saw that, who was an actor in CID. Yeah. And somehow he just came up again on the internet and everybody's attention. CID, an actor in CID, ended up at a college in Bangalore, heading the commerce department in CMRID. And I really wanted to check this person out a little more. So I went into his LinkedIn profile and I watched the 5 or 6 career changes he had. And between every single career change, he had a 3-month, 6-month, 9-month gap. And he used that gap as an opportunity to tell people, hey, I was exploring a goal, I was trying a new project out, I was just chilling in my house, enjoying my new baby. And I found that so interesting. I think in India, we don't do that enough. It's like a rush. You have your undergrad, your postgrad, your job, your kids, your marriage. There's no time for somebody to really stand still and be like, okay, what do I want to do? And this is what I enjoy, that now kids are thinking of something like gap year, thinking of something like, hey, I want to do a series of internships during my 6-month holiday between my second PU and my undergraduate studies. And even now, between my ventures, now that I stand with my podcast on a standstill, my other projects on a standstill, I like to just stand and observe what's happening in the market. And so I'm talking to different people every single day. I think this week I have spoken to 200. The next 2 days I'm going to speak to 500 of them at back-to-back events. But I'm just standing still and observing. Here's a beautiful moment I can share with you guys. I was watching a movie of the founder of Cheetos. And there's this beautiful scene in that where an engineer takes this guy, yanks him up to the top of the factory. And this guy is the maintenance manager of the entire factory and just takes him to the top and says, listen. Stand still and listen and you will see what's wrong in the factory. And that's how you got to do things at times. Thank you.
Standing still is a talent. I think I have to learn that a bit. Alright. So let's continue with the next topic. Be humble. Even an expert can make mistakes. Be humble. Even an expert can make mistakes. Toastmaster Brian.
Chilly weather, cool breeze, warm shelter. The only thing stopping us from falling asleep is our blankets. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Good evening. When Jeevan told there are two more table topics to be given, and Puni took one, I was just praying in a seat. It should not be me. I was like, please, let it not be me. But ma'am called out my name. What was the topic?
Be humble. Even an expert can make mistakes. Be humble. Even an expert can make mistakes.
So at my university, one day my English teacher, she was telling what of kids she sees, and she pulls out some examples like there are some people who are very assertive on the face, direct, and she gave many examples, but she gave me one example that still stands in my mind. So she tells in my senior class, a boy, tall, rude voice. He stands up and he says, "Ma'am, I might be rude talking, I might be tall, but in my heart, I'm kind." That stands in my mind because some people have told me my voice is rude, but I actually am kind. So with that, back to the
We know that, Brian, you're very kind at heart. All right, can I give one last topic?
Thank you. That should be like the bamboo. Stand up, bend, and then sit down. You need some energy. Because now we are coming to the unique part of Toastmasters, and that's the evaluation. And that's headed by TTM Gangadhar Krishna. Over to you.
Good evening to all Toastmasters and guests. Am I audible or do I need to move here? Audible. Good enough. Thank you very much. Today's session seems like an IPL match for me. You know why? When the team that is chasing a score and the first few people just go out, it is the latter half people who take all the responsibility of chasing that score. So I have to be very careful about the time now and go according to that. So we are the tail enders. you have to be very careful. I'm going to be trying to make it as quick as possible, as short as possible. Before I move on, I have a small request. And why would I make this request? The other day, when I was handing over an award at the installation ceremony, one of the Toastmasters and I, we had a little bit of confusion whether to say namaste or to shake hands. And today, I take the cue from the first speaker, Rahul Bharadwaj. Why do we have to go to the Western culture? Why not we take the Indian culture? With that, I want to request whoever is coming up here now, can we do a namaste instead of a handshake? End of the day, even people in Japan, the world follows them. Why do we follow a handshake? Why should it be that way always? It's again COVID friendly. So with that, I'm going to dive straight in and call the first evaluator of the first project speech, Toastmaster Aaron, to come and give his thoughts on the speech. Aaron? Aaron, namaste.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and Toastmaster Rahul Bharadwaj in particular. Where are you, Rahul? Lovely. In the midst of the gloomy skies, you cast a ray upon us, a ray of realization on a topic that many of us feel subconsciously but very rarely acknowledge and even less speak about. Let's focus on some of the jewels, the highlights of your speech, and it was especially a great experience to sit and watch a young budding Toastmaster and leader bring out something so relevant in today's time, and that's actually my first point. The topic in itself was so relevant, right? We week in and week out, sometimes we hear about more common topics, life-changing topics or how to better things, but very rarely do we acknowledge sometimes the impact of culture, right? Foreign culture on us, and sometimes a detriment because we sometimes neglect our very own culture or roots, as you called it out in your speech. And you gave us a fair few examples, right? For example, curfew, moving out, and things like that. So those examples resonate. I'm sure some of us could understand how the Indian culture, the way of growing up is affected. The message that you gave us, somewhere in the midst of all of that, the relevant content and examples, the message that I took home was that don't ignore culture, don't ignore foreign culture, right? Embrace it, learn from it, right? But appreciate your own. And that it was very easy, it would have been very easy for you to go off the road, right? And talk a lot about now, ignoring foreign culture and focusing on it, but that wasn't the point. The point was, as you rightly said, to balance it out, right? And I think the G took a lovely cue from that message, right? To acknowledge other cultures, learn from it, but embrace our own and not neglect it. So the message was a very lovely message. And one specific thing I wanted to point out from your speech is you can deliver humor in a very dry, in a very subtle way. And that's one of the qualities. I'd really like you to try some humorous speeches. For example, when you spoke about the 7 p.m. curfew, in a very nonchalant way, you said, might as well call a babysitter. And people just chuckled, right, in the audience. It didn't show a lot of effort on your part, which means you can deliver humor in a very interesting way. So do work upon that, and that's a lovely trait to have. Let's focus on some of the points you could have done a little better to make this a more impactful speech, on our Friday evening. The first, I'll start with, the non-verbal part of it, which is your body language to start with, right? I felt your hands were a little loose. You didn't know what to do with your hands. But I think the glaring issue that I found was that you didn't use the stage, right? You didn't move around. Neither did you use the lectern, right? So we could see that
you needed to refer to your notes for some points, which is fine. There's, I think, a very common misconception, that you need to mug your speech line by line, word for, which is not the case. That is not public speaking, right? You're allowed to have cards in your hand, you're allowed to refer to notes, right? You can have prompts even visually and all of that, right? So that's not the point here. The point was that you could have done it in a better manner, because we were getting a little distracted when you have to take 2 steps, every half minute or so to refer to the notes. So try and do that a little better. Intonate your voice. You have a nice deep voice, you have a good command over the language. Use it when asking questions to the audience, especially on an abstract topic like this where they need to think. Use your voice better to convey your message. And let me focus on the third, and this is something that our education speaker, Ms. Harita spoke about last weekend, right? 2 components of a speech apart from logos is ethos and pathos, right? And that is where I wanted to see your credibility. What are the examples, right, that you felt personally, right, and that we could relate to? For example, is it travel? Do we as an audience now only want to travel to Europe and South America, not to the north of India or the northeast? Do we only want to watch Western cartoons and not Indian cartoons, or from the Hindu holy books, or things like that? Food at home, do we only want to eat pasta and pizzas as opposed to some of our more local food that we're brought up with? More personal examples, otherwise a very relevant message. Thank you for the wonderful speech. Now call upon the second evaluator, Toastmaster Vijay Kalpudi, to come and evaluate the second speech.
Mr. General Evaluator, my dear Toastmasters and the speaker, Keith in particular, good evening.
Good evening.
So we all joined Toastmaster, as the Toastmaster they rightly said, to learn 3 C's: communication, leadership, and then also about the listening skills. So here, communication, as Simon Sinek rightly says, communication is not what you think, but ensuring people are able to hear what you mean. So when we join Toastmaster, one of the main aspects is improve our communication skills. And Kirtana today was here to help us understand what are the different styles of communication that we can explore on this particular stage. Because in our day-to-day life, we get a chance to communicate. But do we get a chance to explore what is that? We will not pay a conscious attention. But today, Kirtana in a speech helped us understand that there are different forms of communication styles which we can explore and we can improve and we can nourish on them. So coming to a speech, Kirtana's speech today was very, very well organized. And how do I say so? Because any speech that has got a personal element to it, not only she will speak, but it just flows through. And today in a speech, she was able to take us through her personal experiences where she acted as a supportive pillar for her family. It can be a grandmother, father and mother, or it can be that initiative part of the communication style where she explored by taking the role of an MC, or the supportive pillar for her newfound friend in a college where she acted. That element of her speech clearly spoke about the communication style, what she possessed. So, what are the few good elements of the speech? What I really liked were, start with an expression. Because when you want to grab an attention of an audience at the beginning, you have to start with an expression. And where she mentioned about the emojis, where people start to think about when they do their WhatsApp screens or wherever they could find the emojis. That was a way of grabbing your attention. And her communication was clear right from the beginning till the end. Like she was, because it was a personal content, it was a clear communication. But having said that, what are these few things what she can actually look into to take her speech to her next level is, you can have a smooth transition between your style of communication where there's an initiative and a supportive style. So I saw a place where you are, like the speech jumped between an initiative, supportive and then an initiative style. So that can be slightly looked into. And then What other things you can keep a tap of is the timing, of course, like where he slightly hit the ceiling, upper ceiling, where actually that nice poem what you want to tell, you had to rush through, where it could have basically been slightly better organized. But having said that, all in all, your speech was a great one, clear one, and I would like to say, conclude it by saying, with the communication style of initiative, you became an MC. With the communication style of supportive, you exhibited the quality of protective. All in all, we can count on you. Back to you.
I think to add, where's you there? Okay. I really love the way you use the stage space for one example of your father, your mother, your grandmother, and yourself. You very consciously did that, and that's what makes a good communicator who can speak as well as use the stage. Having said that, maybe you would have avoided that very ringing. That's what I thought. Okay, moving on to the third evaluator. Please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Vijay Anand.
Each one of us, every day in our lives, we are selling. We are in the business of sales. We're selling our products, services, or ideas. I think Toastmaster Asha had to leave. So in absentia, I want to thank the lady. Her topic selection was spot on. It pertains to all of us. Mr. G, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm going to validate Toastmaster Asha's speech on the acronym that she used, if you remember. FAB. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Okay. The F, flow. Any good speech, and by the way, the project calls for, this must be a keynote style speech. So I'm going to validate on that basis for Varsha. The flow must be very good, which I thought you did a brilliant job. 18-20 minutes, when Jeevan raised the card, 20 minutes, I hardly used when he was invited. I guess most of you would agree with me. A, anecdotes. You've got to have personal stories. And I thought she did well. I just mentioned one. Her father had the money to buy expensive tomatoes at $150 a kg. No authority. We were sold on that with the anecdote. B, she mentioned benefits, I would also say benefits. If I were in Varsha's place, I would have kind of unified the audience about the benefits of selling. Let's say I'll take students in the house. You're going to complete your studies, you have to sell yourself in the interview to back that job. Those already in the corporate world, you have to sell yourself, performance appraisals time to get that good rating, a better promotion, and a better paycheck. Married folks in the house, you have to sell yourselves constantly for the initial matches to wife. My wife says, don't drink beer, it's alcohol. I said, no, it's a beverage. Healthy beverage. I call it barley water. She sold an idea. See, the benefits are enormous. The man, M, the moving part, the OBC, the body of Varsha's speech, I thought was excellent, but the opening conclusion, she started by talking about the negatives of coming here, long speech, meeting Kirtana. I thought we lost the plot there. If I was in her place, the opening, friends, if you're good in sales, it will make your life. If you're poor in sales, it will break your life. One possible opening. Conclusion, again she said, any question, if any questions, otherwise I'm done. I thought I just, Five Varsha's place. A possible conclusion be, sales teaches you patience, perseverance, and persuasion, which are fantastic qualities to possess in life. That kind of ending would end on a very high note. Having said that, the A in the man, animated. This project calls for being very energetic, enthusiastic, which she was, and N, noteworthy because it was very, very informational. I'm sure you'll agree with me. Tons, truckloads of information. So before I sign off, I just want to say, if you're great in sales, you will have great tales to tell people. Mr. B.
It's so difficult to go from a habitual handshake to a conscious namaste. I think all the three evaluators have done justice to the evaluations of the project speeches. And I might want to just add, whenever you ask or start involving the audience and ask questions, you tend to miss out that they might probably hijack, delay, or take you astray. So we need to be very conscious about that whenever you're asking, what do you think? 15 thoughts will come out and it will become like a classroom commotion. So you have to be very, very careful with that one. So this is where you lose out on time, and I'm not sure what that happened, but okay, I'm going to move on with the tag team. And here I request the timer and the hour counter to only call out people who have exceeded time. No point in reading everybody's time because the others obviously have been in time. So anybody who has exceeded in time, let's know. Our counter would be rather similar. However, for the grammarian, it's important to know who used good grammar and who did not use good grammar. So it is fine to put both aspects of it. So with that request, I call upon the timer, Toastmaster Jeevan.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Today I was so happy because no one gave me an opportunity to show red card during table topic.
Your voice is echoing. Don't use the mic.
So during table topic, most of them didn't give me the opportunity to show red card, except 2 people, and rest everyone are below yellow card, which means you people have to improve your timing on table topic. Allow timer to show the red card till, okay? Next, I'm so happy that our general evaluated time allotted was 4 minutes, so kind enough to give back 2 minutes or 1 minute 30 minutes back, but one of the evaluators has taken back. With that, all other evaluators are on time, and the speakers, the allotted time, but the time you have taken, it's more by 1 minute in combined. And Toastmaster Melvin, Toastmaster of the day, the time allotted was 9 minutes, but you have taken back my 3 minutes extra by taking 12 minutes in total. And all the role takers are in time, and over to general evaluation.
Can I call the hour counter, please? Okay.
So I've been listening to everybody's conversation today. I've been trying to figure out where the pauses are, the hours and outs. I just want to highlight only a couple of them. So I think maybe Varsha and I think only Varsha and Keertan have exceeded more than 5 times, and the rest of the other speakers, I think people have repeated also Varsha and Rahul once. Rahul will be the first speaker. Apart from that, everybody is under the limit and done pretty well. So, yeah.
Thank you. Having said that, I had just one word for the timer, or any timer who's going to be taking up the floor. Whenever you're showing the card, I might request you to keep that card for the 30 seconds. Because often than not, a speaker as it is sort of nervous, trying to recollect his thoughts and trying to speak. So when you show it and take it down, he might probably tend to miss it. And I noticed that in a couple of instances, where Varsha would be looking at you, but your card is down. So ensure you keep it up, or if it's disturbing the people behind, keep it against your, right in front of you kind of thing. Now I wish to call on the grammarian and with all comfort wish her a namaste.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. As your grammarian, what I did expect was that you all give words some respect, and you all did that in every aspect. And so some of the very good usages, proper usages of the English language were embrace Western ideologies, evolving landscape, bridging generational gap and finding common ground, broadens our perspective, value unique perspectives, immediately initiated, sales and inevitable skill, event appropriate, potential customers, summary approach, malleability and diplomacy, ideology and beliefs, facets of the bamboo. Well, as far as the improper usages go, nothing that I really wish to comment upon because the standard of English was really commendable today. So in conclusion, today good grammar was king. It made your language soar and sing. And as your words did shine with every might, you led many of us from darkness into light. Thank
That was wonderfully put. Thank you, grammarian. Coming down to how was the meeting today? I think I want to congratulate the new committee for taking up the challenge, number one, and moving up here at a short notice. Sometimes a small hall is full, so it's an advantage, and it's great. Probably you would have been full down also, I'm not sure, but anyway. But it was really good. You have started the meeting on time. There was no delays whatsoever. Though there was a lot of contemplation what to do, what not to do. Having said that, I must tell you that I'm going to take a little bit more time and throw a challenge to the TMOD as well as the president so they can come and finish the meeting on time. Alright? So the meeting started on time, it went off very well. The Toastmaster of the day was definitely sticking to the time as far as we could help it. Often than not, it's not in your hands to hold the time. Somebody else might just hijack it and you have not much of a choice. Though, there have been instances where the Toastmaster of the day jumped into the stage before a question and answer could be asked and they exceed time. And it happened over 2 instances. It's a good way of doing it, no doubt. But then it gets very stressful when you have a very tight-packed meeting. And here, I had once earlier mentioned, if you have a 7-minute speech, you might not have 10 thoughts because it will not work. You have to slash them and work around that. Similarly, if there is going to be a 22-minute speech along with 2 7-minute speeches, somebody has to be put for the next meeting. Otherwise, it gets very rushed for everybody. So we have to manipulate that and say, listen, I'll put you on to the next slot. Otherwise, it will not work then. Because everybody is in a state of stress, and that's no fun, right? The third speaker, I noticed we were already late at that point in time. So I might want to put it this way. And we managed to make up with time with the table topics. Often than not, we have the advantage that if we are trying to rush with time, there are 2 or 3 people who can manage the time. One, the president, obviously you don't know when he's starting the meeting, but I'm going to put that pressure now at the end. All right? 2, table topics. You can cut down and be made up on time there, which is good. Speaking about the table topic master, my personal request is, you initially mentioned that I'll call sheep and then I'll give him the topic, but then it was the reverse. You gave the topic and then called people. So if there's a clarity on what exactly is going to be the action, so you need to have the vision for that action. That's important also. And try to keep your topics small, short, crisp. If it gets to be a sentence or 2, invariably people come here and they try to hold the stage some way or the other, like Toastmaster Alan did, or Toastmaster Brian was very candid to ask, what's the topic? After about 30 seconds. So when that happens, it is better to keep it short so that it is there in the memory of the person and he can talk about it. And if you keep it simple, it will always be nice. So having said that, I think I'm seeing the yellow card coming up here. You're going by my timing or their timing? The table topic, the Toastmaster of the day really did a good job. by having the energy, ensuring that everybody would participate in this meeting with a clap or a ha or stand up together, kind of stuff, which is very good. That's the only way to get things going. And that was done very well, and I think everybody did support in the exercise. It's not only for the Toastmasters that they're doing a good job, it means a lot for every speaker who's coming and going from here. So that makes a lot of difference when you encourage a speaker or anybody coming here. These are some of the important things. Now, I wouldn't want to take any more time because I think we have covered up whatever I thought I should cover up given the time in my hand. And with that, I would love to call the Toastmaster of the day back on stage.
The last time I was doing this was on a flight. The air hostess was looking somewhere and doing this. So, next time, look at the person when you're doing this namaste. It makes a lot of sense. But I like to agree to disagree with GE for today. Did you all have a good time? Yes. Well, I enjoyed myself because I'm on the stage. I feel like I'm on the TV. And it's now back to the president, Toastmaster Shashank Bhatt. Let me tell you, the password is evolve. It's small, evolve.
For context, the voting link is shared in the WhatsApp group for the members to vote, cast their vote. Let us take 20 seconds and cast a vote. The password is evolve, no caps. And while the members vote, I have some announcements to make. The first announcement is, we will be conducting 2 speechcraft programs during this term. The first speechcraft program will begin on the 6th of August 2023, the first Sunday of August. It's an 8-week program. It's a fast track program for you to improve your public speaking and presentation skills. For more details on the program, I request you to contact our VP membership, Toastmaster Jose. After the meeting is done, he will give you more details regarding the speechcraft event. Second announcement is regarding the membership renewals for the members. As you all know, if we pay the membership fees for the term October to March by 31st of July, we can continue with the existing date. So let us try to pay by 29th of July so that we will not burden the treasurer towards the end of the month. By 29th of July, let us pay the membership fees for the next term, which is October to March 2024, so that he can make the payment within the due date. Third announcement, we will be having the business meeting to present the budget on the 21st of July. More details will be shared by the treasurer in due course. The last one is regarding a small questionnaire. It's a Google form which will be shared by our VP membership with all of you. What is there in the Google form? We want to hear from you, the members. Your expectations from the committee, your expectations from all the roles, and your expectations throughout the term. So whatever your expectations, make a note of that. We look at each and every expectation and we'll try to implement it as much as possible. Having said that, are the results done? While I announce the result, I request the new committee as well to join me on the stage. Is Priyanka here? Toastmaster Priyanka as the VP Education for the term. Toastmaster Jose Paul as the VP Membership. Toastmaster Chirant as the VP PR. Toastmaster Subhas as the Secretary. Toastmaster Ratan as the Treasurer. And Toastmaster Pullappan as the Surgeon at Arms. He finishes the actions. Let us start with the Best Evaluator Award for today. The Best Evaluator Award goes to DTM Vijayan. The best auxiliary role taker, Toastmaster Sureka. The best role taker award goes to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Melvin Smith. The best table topic speaker award goes to DTM Rajdeep Manwani. And the best speaker award goes to Toastmaster Varsha. Can I have a round of applause for her? Thank you. First of all, as Toastmaster Melvin said, we wanted to take this meeting to the next level. So we crossed 2 levels and we are in the 2nd floor today. Thanks to all the committee members for their hard work and efforts in making this meeting a grand success. Let us have a big round of applause to all of them. As we believe in together we evolve. It was a team effort. Did we take the meeting to the next level or not? Did you enjoy the meeting? Yes. We also had some cheerleaders to cheer the meeting outside the hall. Did you hear that? We had nice applause, we had nice celebrations from outside the hall as well. Right? So with that, we have one more announcement before I adjourn. We have snacks which will be served in the hallway here. Thanks to our beloved Toastmaster Sureka ma'am. Please enjoy the snacks. We will see you once again next week at Loyola Hall. So all the guests, while you enjoy your snacks, you can also talk to all the committee members here, take some information about the club. Any details you want, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. Enjoy the snacks. I'll see you next week at Loyola Hall, ground floor. I now adjourn meeting number 138.